Thank you very much for joining us for our GOGI PowerUp 90-minute meeting.
We call this meeting to order. The purpose of GOGI is to provide simple tools to anyone interested in making more positive decisions in their lives. The goal of the PowerUp is to create a purpose and meaning of service for that week. That is where the GOGI gets their power. We power up by living a life of service.
The GOGI tools for positive decision making are Boss of My Brain, belly breathing, 5-second light switch, positive thoughts, positive words, positive actions, claim responsibility, let go, forgive, what if, reality check, and ultimate freedom. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do a short recap of the tool for last week. Who can tell us what the tool for last week was?
Oh, I can. Boss of my brain.
Thank you. And the statement of ownership for Boss of My Brain quickly is, I am boss of my brain, and I have complete control over each thought I create. Because I am boss of my brain, I can change my thoughts at any time. No one has control over my thoughts because only I am the boss of my brain. I know that one of the activities that we did was to put our hands on each part of our brain. So our smart part is located where?
In the front.
In the front. And then our emotional part is where?
Kind of like between our ears.
Okay, and then our old habit part is where?
In the back.
In the back. And one of the things we learned is sometimes it's very easy for us to slip back into situations where we're either using our emotional or our old habit parts. And the smart part, the front, is where we learn new things. So that's the part of the brain that will help us be strong and make positive decisions. But when we're upset about something, it's very easy for our emotional part to kick in, which can then lead us to our old habit parts. So does anybody remember what one of the questions was that we would ask ourselves to kind of put us back in focus of being the boss of our brain? And
Which
the key
one
word
is the boss right now? You have to figure out which part you're thinking with now so that you can change how you're thinking.
Exactly.
And change and make it a smart thought rather than an emotional or just a reactive part that I think of like old habits.
Exactly. And one of the GOGI students brought out in one of the little snippets is that when you realize that you are the boss of your brain, you have the power to change the world around you. So I think that's something that's very fulfilling for people when they realize that they might be physically locked up. They might be told where to stand or where to sit or when to eat or when to sleep. That they might not have the physical freedom to make those choices. However, nobody can tell them what to think, how to feel, how to act, or how to react. So having that freedom to know that my thoughts are my own. I might be told to go stand over there, but nobody can tell me what to think or how to act when I do stand over there. So it gives you a little bit of control back in your life, a little bit of freedom that even we out here need. So being boss of my brain is key actually for all of the 12 tools. All of them will require us to be the boss of our brain when using it. Who would like to read our GOGI National Calendar to see what tool we're studying?
This week, GOGI students all over the world are studying belly breathing.
Belly breathing. The statement of ownership, which is, With belly breathing, I can instantly relax my body and I can make positive decisions. When I am belly breathing, I take control of my thoughts and feelings. And we want to, as with all of the tools, repeat this week's statement of ownership as often as possible. Before we get out of bed, before our meals, during a break, and before sleeping. If we write this statement, it will give us added emphasis of that statement, and our weekly statement of ownership reinforces this week's tool. And we have mentioned before, Monica, can you tell us what are some of the suggestions that can help us remember to repeat this week's statement of ownership?
We can set an alarm on our phones or alarm clock to remember. We could put sticky notes up on our mirrors or by a door or on our computer. I carry around the flashcard. I keep the flashcard right by my, one of them right by my computer. So when I look over just to use my mouse or anything, I can see it. So that kind of reminds me that I can stop and reinforce this week's tool.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And what are the weeks to study belly breathing?
The second week of January, the second week of April, the second week of July, and the second week of October.
Exactly. And then our keywords for belly breathing are one hand on my chest, one hand on my belly. Which one is moving right now? My brain works better when my belly moves. And the objective of belly breathing is, our goal in learning this week's tool is to breathe with your chest remaining still and your belly moving in and out. This is your most powerful way to breathe, and you can achieve this with this week's tool called belly breathing. Did you know that when you breathe with your belly, it actually makes you smarter? This is a question. It is true. This is because when you breathe into your belly, you are also getting oxygen into your brain, and that makes the brain work better. GOGI believes there are two types of breathing. There's breathing with your chest, and there is belly breathing. A.E. Jr., a GOGI student, wrote in that while in the dorm, you will be faced with several situations interacting with so many different personalities in one place. And so when someone pushes your buttons or makes you angry, I found that belly breathing calms me down. A situation in my dorm one day could have really turned all bad, but since I started using tools such as belly breathing and 10-second light switch,
he gets extra time.
Yeah. I think that's like a light switch, but that's okay. These alternatives to any situation or altercation can and does diffuse a lot of situations.
That's very positive.
That is very positive, and that's great. He takes that extra 5 seconds.
Exactly. How to use belly breathing. You can use the belly breathing tool at any time. Here are 3 ways to use the tool. You can actually put one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach and see which is moving. Or just put one hand on your stomach to make sure it is moving. And if you are breathing with your chest, you can direct the air all the way into your stomach area and begin belly breathing. Review belly breathing. Belly breathing will help you make more positive decisions. That is because when you get air into your belly, your brain works better. The only thing you need to do to use this tool is to ask yourself, which part of your body is getting the air? Are you chest breathing or are you belly breathing? From Coach Taylor, belly breathing. Belly breathing was a tool discovered by men who were so stressed They could barely get air in their chests. I had each one lie down and put one hand on their belly and one on their chest, and they stayed there until their belly began to move. Love, Coach. Thoughts from Coach Lee Carlson. The GOGI tool belly breathing is proper breathing and promotes healthier body and brain function. The benefits of belly breathing include clarity of thought, focus, increased energy, relaxation, and an overall healthier brain and body. When your brain and body are getting more oxygen, you are making better and more informed decisions. Every day, there are situations that can cause stress and anxiety. It is in these moments that I focus on how I am breathing, and it never fails that I am able to combat the anxiety and stress with the use of the GOGI tool belly breathing. Belly breathing helps us avoid conflict and enables us to calm ourselves so we can think more rationally. In working to help implement GOGI at various facilities, it always seems at first that people think belly breathing is silly. However, when people begin to see and feel the benefits of the GOGI tool belly breathing, it quickly becomes a part of their everyday life. If I had $1 for every time a man or woman has told me that belly breathing has kept them out of trouble, conflict, or dragged them out of a bout of depression or anxiety, I could buy the whole world a GOGI book, and I would. Belly breathing in action. I think the most powerful examples come from students who share with GOGI how belly breathing has helped them cope with the pain of situations outside their control. Like the GOGI student who lost his wife to cancer while he was incarcerated, he explained that it was the GOGI tool that kept him together. It was his ability to control his thoughts, emotions, and his use of belly breathing that kept him stable at a time of great pain. Or that GOGI peer coach who received news that his brother had been killed. He shared that in a moment where he thought he would lose control. He sat on his bunk, used his belly breathing, and opened his GOGI book. He was reminded immediately of the tools he needed in that moment to process the information in a productive way, no matter how painful the situation. GOGI for life, Coach Carlson.
Oh, that's nice. And so we see a picture here, an example of how to belly breathe. If somebody was standing against, a wall, they're feeling their stomach. They're making sure that their stomach expands as they take the air in, and stomach goes back in as they breathe it out.
From Coach Taylor, belly breathing. Many poor decisions and actions you regret later can be stopped with this simple tool called belly breathing. When you do your belly breathing, you are getting oxygen to your brain. When oxygen gets to your brain, you have a better chance of making positive decisions. Here is a really good tip taught to me by a GOGI peer coach. Each time he would get upset, he would quietly put his hand on his belly. That would remind him to do his belly breathing, and it never failed to help him make the next good decision. Love, Coach. GOGI made me a better artist. Thanks.
Oh, and that is a precious little puppy, isn't it?
Yeah, little doxy.
That's a little dachshund, right? Little wiener dog?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Let's go into the activity for belly breathing. In pairs, small groups, or even by yourself, you can enjoy this activity. Standing up makes this activity work even better. So, all right, chairs out, let's stand up, but we're not going to do chest out, shoulders back, and stomach in. We're going to let it hang, okay? Everybody stand up. I want to hear the chairs moving. I want to hear backs cracking as you're getting up out of the couch.
We're not that old.
So, okay. Have everyone place one hand on his or her chest. Observe the breathing in your group members or in ourselves. Do you see some people breathing with their chest going up and down? Well, I'm just going to look at myself, and my chest is going up and down. Monica, how's your dog breathing? He got his paw on his chest?
No, he does belly. He belly breathes.
That's good. He's smart. No one ever told him to suck it in.
No, he's a belly breather.
All right, so now have everyone place their other hand on their stomach. Okay. And are we seeing some people breathing with their stomach moving in and out? Okay, well.
Yep, very embarrassing.
My stomach's out. I don't know how much we're breathing, but have the members of the group point out who is chest breathing and who is belly breathing. Well, we're kind of on our own out here, so we can't do that. But your goal is that all members of your group use belly breathing. So let's go ahead and let's do a practice. Breathe in and out. So we're going to breathe in and expand our stomach. Oh my God, that actually feels really good. Expand our stomach. And let it all out. And let's do it one more time. I don't hear you breathing, Monica.
I'm a quiet breather.
Hey, I just whistled. I never knew I could whistle. Let's do it one more time.
Oh, that does help. That does help.
Doesn't that make you feel good? And actually, on the exit, my stomach now just wants to stay out. Okay. I don't have to see anybody, so let's just keep it there. Okay. So and I see that, it's immediately relaxing. Immediately.
Yeah, it does.
As long as you don't do it too many times and hyperventilate. But, I like this tool a lot. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite tools.
That's good.
Besides the fact that I can let my stomach hang out. So, that's always a good thing. Okay, group questions. Was there a time today when you realized you were belly breathing? Please explain. Monica, you had a situation, correct?
Yes. I was supposed to get a call, and I seem to feel like I get gypped out of phone calls, so I start to just get a little anxious. So even before our meeting, I was waiting for the call, and it didn't happen, and I'm pretty calm as a person, but when I get aggravated like that, I just start to get mad. And I just said, you know what? I wanted to be calm before we started everything. So I just did that. I put my hand on my stomach and I took air in, and then I made sure my belly was moving rather than my chest. Because at first, when I first started doing this, it was the opposite. But then I did it nice and slow, the 5 seconds. It says, to take 5 seconds to exhale. And I did that a few times, and I was a lot calmer. And I just realized, you know what? It is what it is, and tomorrow's another day.
Very good. Was there a time today when you realized you were breathing with your chest?
Well, I got yelled at today by a man who decided that just because I didn't have a stop sign, he did, but he decided he was going to go straight right in front of me. And then when I kind of gave him a funny look as he was passing by, he stopped his car perpendicular to me and was screaming at me through his passenger side window, like it was my fault. And I was like, oh my God. He seriously
definitely needed to belly breathe.
Oh yeah, and I was like remaining calm, not freaking out. I was just hoping he wasn't going to get out of his car and come walking up to my car, and I was like, oh my God. So I apologized, even though I was not in the wrong. I just wanted to diffuse the situation so that he could finish his little rant and just continue on with his car. And thank God he was not going the same direction. I mean, he was going the same direction I was, but he then finally turned right, and I was still going straight. So I was so glad I didn't have to have any kind of further, altercation with him being mad, because I had the right of way. He didn't, but he obviously felt that what I did was incorrect.
When do you think you're most likely to breathe? When are we most likely to breathe with our chest? When do you think?
All the time.
And why do you think people breathe with their chest when they are upset?
Because I think it's like when you take in air quickly and you just take in air quickly, and you're not wanting to necessarily move, it seems to come directly from your chest. Like right now, I'm sitting here, my arms are crossed, and if I just quickly take in air, I can feel that it's coming from my chest.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think when we get upset, our body naturally tenses up. So when our body naturally tenses up, we're restricting our body's restricted. And so there is no ability to have that full, deep belly breath. So like you said, you know, we're tight, we're tense. And so we're just little bits of air quickly just so we can talk and we can get our point across and blah, 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 you know? But if we were to take a moment and take that full breath,
then it does, yeah.
We naturally relax, which means it's really hard to be upset when you're taking that time. You're naturally relaxing. I mean, come on, especially when your stomach's hanging out. Honestly, half the stuff that goes on here, it makes me laugh at myself. You can't be tense when you're laughing at yourself. So no. I think we get tensed up. We get all restricted when we get upset. So what can we do to use belly breathing more often each day?
I think just be conscious of how we breathe naturally anyway. I think if we naturally just learn to breathe normally using our belly, I think when it does become a situation where we need to be calm, it'll be quicker for us to recover and actually be calm.
Yes. Well, I liked the point that the student made about he trained himself that when he got upset, he would instinctively put his hand on his stomach. And so that then eventually subconsciously triggered him to take in that deep breath. So I think, you know, as with anything, we're not going to immediately have this as a habit. It's not going to be immediately that we're remembering it. But if the first step is to train ourselves to put our hand on our belly, then once that becomes habit, then it will then trigger us to take that deep breath. And, you know, I will do that. I think it's a little bit harder when you're a big girl, because the last thing you want to do is kind of draw attention to your stomach at all. but, you know, but I think that's, you know, for our health, you know, just to subconsciously just kind of put our hand there. And I'm going to try that. And I get upset quite frequently during the day, so hopefully that'll be something I pick up rather quickly.
It'll help.
Yeah, but as with anything, we have to form a habit, and that's going to take time to do.
A good habit.
Yes, a good habit. A good habit. And then what are we actually doing? We're replacing a bad habit with a good habit, which is basically what GOGI is all about. Right. GOGI is not about telling you to stop doing something. GOGI is about telling you to think of something more positive to replace that bad habit with.
And so have it available. Yes. Have it available at the time that you need it, so you can go to it quickly.
Our toolbox, right? You know, we need to jump in our toolbox and figure out what tool we're going to need, but we don't know what tool we're going to need. We won't be able to have that tool available if we don't learn them, though, if we don't practice them on a daily basis. So yes, you're correct. So how can we as individuals share this tool with others this week?
Well, I think if we see someone being upset, I think we already know when someone gets upset and they're a little out of control, you try to tell them, just breathe, breathe. And now you can share with them, if they breathe from their belly, it will actually help them more.
Correct. So like, you know, when we tell people, okay, take a breath or breathe, we're not telling them what kind of a breath to take, right? So probably instinctively somebody's going to take a chest breath. But if we tell somebody, okay, belly breathe, that in itself is something that's going to trigger them. I have to breathe in a different way, or what, but at least that's instructing them to kind of do it, you know, in a more positive and productive way. Kind of like, you know, we had an experience earlier today where somebody was upset, and, you know, the first thing I thought of was make sure that, you know, to belly breathe, take a belly breath, take a 5-second light switch, take a belly breath, and that can calm. So I think when we start encouraging people to use the tools, it then reinforces those tools within us at the same time.
Well, also, I think explaining it to other people, because they say, what's belly breathing? What's, you know, they might not even understand what the difference between belly breathing and just breathing is. And we can use that as a good opportunity to share the actual tool with them, and and maybe a few others.
I didn't even know what it was. I never knew the difference. I mean, I'm not a yoga person, first of all. I had never heard of it. And so I started reading GOGI, and it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense. What I'm doing too is, whether my friends on Facebook like it or not, I am trying not to push GOGI as much. What I'm trying to do with GOGI with my non-GOGI friends is to just post the tools each week, and not to just throw them up there, but to kind of explain them, you know, like put up their thoughts on my brain and our statements, you know, of what that is and how that actually can help. Because I think sometimes people have a tendency to think, they hear us, GOGI for life or whatever, and if I was somebody looking in, I would probably think, those freaks are in a cult. You know, I mean, it seems like, you know, we're all kind of ramped up and we got these great tools and everything, and people don't understand. So what I started doing is, last week and this week, showing examples on my Facebook of how to be boss of my brain, how it's scientific, how to belly breathe. And look, it's not some weirdo thing. There's a lot of people doing it. And I have 2 so far of my friends that have IM'd me and have said, hey, you know what? I never heard of that. I didn't really understand what you were talking about. Thank you for explaining what that is.
See?
And it's not some weirdo stuff. It's very easy tools that anybody can use. And that can be the start of us getting GOGI into the community. Right. And I know Barbara does the same thing. She'll throw stuff up there, and she's even had a couple of her friends ask her what kind of weirdo stuff she's doing now or whatever. I think that was so cute. But she goes in and then she'll explain it. But even if nobody catches on to it, at least it's going to be known. People will be like, oh yeah, I heard about that on Facebook. So I think we can just kind of get it out there a little bit at a time, and at least help people understand it's not some kind of, you know, weird stuff. It actually does work. If that's all, then let's go ahead and
do our
close with the GOGI pledge. And do you want to go ahead and do that one for us, Monica?
Sure. Okay, repeat after me. May our commitment to the study of GOGI grant us the joy of giving and receiving, so that our inner freedom may be of maximum service to those we love and infinite others. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and do what we always do, which is what we have now named our group is now just anybody who's listening in. Our group went from being Team GOGI Women to Team GOGI for Life, because we are now very fortunate to have so many of our GOGI leaders who have paroled they're now becoming part of our group. So it's only made sense to not call us GOGI women, because now we are men and women, and we're all living the GOGI way, and hopefully we are all going to be GOGI for life. So on the count of 3, let's do our GOGI for life fist bump.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. GOGI for life.
Life.
Oh, awesome. Mary had her fists up and everything. Woo! All right, fist up, stomach out. There we go. All right, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night, and we'll see everybody on Thursday.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.